been waiting for the right time to share this history snack with you. I call it a history snack because it's not quite a full meal. It's not enough for a full, truth be told, 15 or 20-minute video, but there is information here that I think would pique your interest and maybe something that you were never taught and were not aware about the statue we call the Statue of Liberty. So if you haven't been to the Statue of Liberty and seen it in New York, surely you've seen pictures of her. It's the iconic symbol of America, Lady Liberty, in the New York Harbor. And if you can appreciate her, and most of us do, we can thank a Frenchman named Edward de la Vallee. Edward de la Vallee was a Frenchman, and he was enthralled with the Constitution of the United States. He was a constitutional expert, you might say, partly because he wanted France to emulate the United States and become a democracy like the US was, because at the time, France was not. So he had this idea of gifting the United States with this statue of liberty. Now, we call it the Statue of Liberty, but he named it Liberty Enlightening the World. He first had this idea in 1811. Didn't get a whole lot of support or traction for it, so it kind of languished. Now comes the Civil War and the victory of the Union, 1865, the 13th Amendment, December of 1865, and now he has more traction. And he is in celebration of the passing of the 13th Amendment. He wants to definitely do this and gift this statue to the United States. Now, Mr. de la Vallee was an abolitionist. No, they weren't only in America. Abolitionists were all over the world, and he was against slavery all over the world. So you can understand how he was watching what was going on in America very closely. So in celebration of the passing of the 13th Amendment, the victory of the Union, the emancipation of millions of people, he wants to gift the United States with this statue. Again, he calls it Liberty Enlightening the World. He wants France, he feels like the world should emulate the United States in all that has been done for the liberation of millions of people. So maybe you didn't know this, but if you're African American, Lady Liberty was designed with you in mind. So now it's 1875, about 10 years after the passing of the 13th Amendment. He secured funding, he has a sculptor, the project is ongoing, and there's a partnership, there's an agreement struck with the United States. France will provide the statue, again, to strengthen France and American relations, to celebrate the emancipation of millions of people, and to also to gain some traction for France's citizens to also call for democracy. And the agreement is France will provide the statue and America will provide the pedestal for the statue. So you can see it behind me here. The pedestal it's a foundation, and then there is the pedestal itself. So that was America's responsibility in this transaction. Now, the statue, Lady Liberty, was not delivered to America the way most of us have seen her, in this pale green hue. She was delivered as shiny as a new penny, and with the deep and rich copper tone that you can find in a shiny new penny. That's how she was delivered. Time and weather have changed her appearance to what it is today. But there's a little more to this story, and you probably already knew that. Because Mr. de la Vallee's original idea for Lady Liberty was the torch, yes, in her right hand upheld, again, liberty enlightening the world, and in her left hand, a pair of chains and broken shackles. Again, this was the celebration of the emancipation of millions of people. So fundraising in the United States didn't go so well because his idea wasn't very popular in the court of public opinion. Big shocker. And so they had to pivot and redesign the statue a little bit. So the tablet that is in her left hand is inscribed with Roman numerals, which indicate July 4th, 1776. And the chains, although they are not in her left hand, they have not been completely removed from the statue. They are now at her feet, scattered and broken. However, most of us have never seen them. And if you can imagine, or you can see, you don't have to imagine, you can see in the photograph of the people, you can see the very small people on the foundation of the statue behind me in the picture. Now, they are still 100 feet below the base of the statue, where you might observe the chains and shackles of which I speak. The only way to see them is to have a helicopter to take you up above where you can look down at her feet. Even when the Statue of Liberty was open and you could climb inside of it and you could go up to the crown, you could not see her feet. Or when you could go up to the torch, you could not see her feet. It makes you wonder why. I always say, why would that be? Why would that not be called out? I've never been to the Statue of Liberty, but I've talked to a handful of my friends who have been, and they don't recall this feature of these chains being called out at all. So if you've never seen them, I'm going to show them to you now. Because as you see, there are pictures of them, but they will not be observed with your naked eye. Again, unless you have a helicopter with flight clearance to fly around the base of the Statue of Liberty. Now, when you think about it, this statue was conceived and designed with emancipation in mind. It was the celebration of the abolition of slavery and the freedom of millions of people. You might say, or you could argue that that celebration was a bit premature. But in essence, that's why the statue exists. That's why it was gifted to America. And yet, we have heard very little, most of us, this is your first time hearing about these chains and shackles. And we don't, or are not able to see them with our naked eye. It's almost as if the freedom for which she stands, although it is there, it is very hard to see, just like the chains upon which she stands, although they are there, it is very hard to see. Some of these things just make you go, We have a long way to go in this country, but we are making progress. And we have to ensure that the things that are there that we cannot see are revealed, if not to us, to our children and to our children's children. Truth be told, you can find Black history anywhere, because our history truly is everywhere. See you again real soon, my friends. Happy 4th of July.
If you would like to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon to receive our new releases. If you would like to assist Truth Be Told in our mission to preserve African American history, which is American history, please share this video with your children, family, and friends. Truth be told, you can find Black history anywhere because our history is everywhere.